The quantum sensors aboard the UES Hyperion lit up like a Christmas tree. Captain Sarah Chen nearly spilled her synthetic coffee as the ship's AI blared an urgent alert. Multiple signatures detected, Captain. Energy readings unprecedented. Detecting weapons fire. Chen straightened in her command chair, her enhanced muscles, a necessity for any spacefaring human, tensing automatically. After 15 years patrolling the outer rim, she learned to trust her instincts. Something big was happening. On screen, she ordered. The holographic display materialized, showing a scene that made even her veteran crew gasp. A vast armada of ships unlike anything humanity had encountered filled the void. Their hulls seemed to ripple with living light, organic curves defying traditional engineering. But they were running. Behind them, emerging from what appeared to be artificial rifts in spacetime, came their pursuers. Black vessels that seemed to absorb light itself, moving with predatory grace. As the crew watched, one of these shadow ships caught up with a smaller vessel trailing the fleeing fleet. There was no explosion, no dramatic flash. The smaller ship simply began to dissolve, its hull turning to dust in seconds. Life signs, Chen demanded. Millions, Captain. Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his sensor station, his voice tight. The fleeing fleet, they're packed with civilians. The pursuing forces, reading minimal organic signatures, mostly automated. Chen's jaw clenched. Humanity had spent generations preparing for first contact, building their fleets, hardening their resolve. Their homeworld's brutal gravity and harsh conditions had forged them into natural warriors, though they'd hoped to be peacekeepers. Now fate had dropped them right into someone else's war. Open a channel, she ordered. All frequencies. Before her communications officer could comply, a transmission cut through their encryptions like they weren't even there. The bridge speakers came alive with a voice that somehow managed to convey both desperation and dignity. Unknown vessel, this is High Chancellor Zyra of the Luminant Collective. We carry 3 million refugees fleeing genocide. Our drives are failing. Our shields cannot withstand another assault. If you possess any capacity for mercy, we beg your assistance. Chen didn't hesitate. Humanity had drilled for this, prepared for this, even if they'd never expected first contact to be quite so explosive. Battle stations, she commanded. Launch all fighters. Engineering. Divert power to forward shields. Weapons, target the nearest pursuit vessel. Let's show them how we do things on Earth. The Hyperion's reaction was immediate. Klaxons blared as armored panels slid into place across the hull. Fighter squadrons streamed from launch bays, their pilots' enhanced reflexes and reinforced cardiovascular systems, letting them pull maneuvers that would kill most organic beings. Message to the Luminant Fleet, Chen continued. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth ship Hyperion. Form up behind us. We'll clear you a path. The first shadow ship to turn its attention to the Hyperion fired the same weapon that had dissolved its previous victim. The black beam struck the Earth vessel's shields and splashed harmlessly against them. Their weapon appears to be some kind of molecular disassembler, the science officer reported excitedly. But our shields were designed to withstand solar flares and asteroid impacts. The energy required to break molecular bonds is nothing compared to what we deal with routinely. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. What had seemed like Earth's curse, its high gravity, intense radiation, and extreme weather that had forced humans to evolve into hardy survivors, was proving to be their greatest asset. Return fire, she ordered. Show them what a Deathworlder can do. The Hyperion's main guns roared to life. Plasma bolts designed to punch through asteroid fields struck the shadow ship. Its hull, so effective at absorbing energy, couldn't handle the sheer kinetic force. The vessel shattered like glass. The effect on the battlefield was immediate. The shadow ships, faced with a foe their weapons couldn't easily destroy, began to pull back. The Luminant Fleet, seeing their pursuers falter for the first time, rallied behind the Earth vessel. As the battle raged, Chen received another transmission from High Chancellor Zyra. Your vessel. Your people. We've never seen anything like that. High Chancellor, she transmitted, once your people are safe, I believe we have much to discuss. About your pursuers, about your people, and about an alliance that could benefit us both. As she looked out at the grateful refugee fleet, Chen reflected that humanity had spent so long wondering if they'd be seen as monsters by alien civilizations. They'd never considered that their monstrous strength might make them the perfect protectors instead. The UES Hyperion had just changed the course of galactic history, and this was only the beginning. The Grand Council chamber aboard the Luminant flagship Crystal Ascendant hummed with nervous energy. Captain Chen felt the familiar strain of moving in lower gravity as she stood before the gathered alien leaders. The Luminant were beautiful beings, tall, ethereal creatures with translucent skin that pulsed with inner light. But to her trained eye, they also looked fragile. You must understand our confusion. High Chancellor Zira spoke, her form shimming with patterns of concerned light. Your ship's combat capabilities exceed anything in our records. Even the Void Hunters have never encountered such resilience. Chen noticed how the council members' lights dimmed at the mention of their pursuers. The Void Hunters, she said carefully. Tell me about them. A different council member, Science Director Lyra, moved forward. Her light patterns shifted to display complex mathematical equations. They emerged from the galactic core 2 cycles ago. Their technology appears to break down matter at the molecular level. Against our crystalline hulls, their weapons are devastating. But not against ours, Chen noted. Earth vessels are built to withstand forces that would tear lighter ships apart. What you see as extraordinary, we consider basic survival engineering. The council chamber erupted in overlapping patterns of light as the Luminant discussed among themselves. Chen waited patiently, remembering her xenocultural briefings. To these beings, evolved in the gentle embrace of low-gravity worlds, humanity's entire existence must seem impossible. Show them, she subvocalized to her neural implant. The chamber's holographic systems activated, displaying images of Earth, its roiling storms, tectonic upheavals, and crushing gravity. The Luminant's light patterns flickered in what Chen's translator identified as shock. This is your homeworld? Zyra asked incredulously. How can any sentient life evolve in such conditions? We adapted, Chen explained. Dense bones, redundant organs, enhanced musculature, all evolutionary responses to Earth's challenges. What you see as brutal, we call home. The discussion was interrupted by a piercing alarm. Multiple Void Hunter signatures detected. A Luminant operator announced, their light patterns strobing with fear. They're targeting our civilian sectors. Chen was already moving, her enhanced muscles easily compensating for the shifting gravity. Hyperion, battle stations, she commanded through her neural link. All hands prepare for combat. Deploy fighter screen Alpha. Wait, Zyra called out. Your vessel just emerged from battle. Surely you need time to recover, to debate strategy. Chen turned back, allowing herself a small smile. Chancellor, on Earth we have a saying. The best time to act was yesterday. The second best time is now. We don't have the luxury of lengthy deliberation. As if to emphasize her point, the first impacts rocked the Crystal Ascendant. The Luminant Council members swayed, their light patterns chaotic with alarm. But Chen stood firm, her body naturally compensating for the movement. Your people prize harmony, peace, and careful consideration, she said while checking tactical displays through her neural interface. These are admirable qualities, but they emerged from an environment that allowed such contemplation. We evolved as persistence predators on a world that tried to kill us every day. Sometimes, survival requires immediate action. The tactical displays showed the Void Hunters employing new tactics, adapting to the Hyperion's capabilities. They were learning. Chen felt a surge of respect. These weren't mindless destroyers, but intelligent opponents. Chancellor, she said, I need authorization to coordinate your fleet's movements with ours. We can protect you, but we need to work together. Zyra's light pattern stabilized into what Chen recognized as determination. "Granted, Captain, but I request to observe your command center. Perhaps we have things to learn from each other." As Chen led the Chancellor to the Hyperion's shuttle bay, she reflected on the irony. Humanity had spent generations fearing they would be seen as brutal savages by more advanced civilizations. Instead, their very brutality, their strength, their speed, their ability to act decisively, might be exactly what the galaxy needed. The shuttle ride was brief but telling. While Chen sat comfortably through the high-G maneuvers, Zyra required extensive stabilization fields. Yet the Chancellor watched everything with intense interest, her patterns shifting in what Chen's translator suggested was fascination. "Your people," Zyra observed, "they move with such purpose, such unity. No debates, no consensus building, yet everyone knows their role." "Training," Chen explained as they docked with the Hyperion. "We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. It's a lesson Earth taught us well." The Hyperion's bridge was a stark contrast to the Crystal Ascendant's council chamber. No flowing crystalline architecture or gentle light patterns here, just hardened battle stations and crew members operating with practiced efficiency. "Multiple Void Hunter vessels on attack vector," the tactical officer reported. "They're using some kind of coordinated assault pattern." Chen took her command chair, noting how Zyra observed everything with attentive curiosity. "Deploy countermeasures beta through delta. Let's show them that humans aren't the only ones who can adapt." As the battle began in earnest, Chen saw understanding dawn in Zyra's light patterns. The High Chancellor was witnessing firsthand how humanity's harsh evolution had forged them into something unique, not brutal savages, but guardians tempered by adversity. The Void Hunters were about to learn that evolution's price could be paid in different currencies. Some evolved for peace, others, like humanity, evolved for survival. Together, they might forge something greater than either could achieve alone. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez floated in the void between ships, her armored suit's thrusters making minute adjustments as she approached the damaged luminant vessel. The crystalline hull before her was beautiful even in its broken state, fractal patterns spreading from impact points like frozen lightning. "How's it looking out there, Lieutenant?" Captain Chen's voice came through clear in her helmet. "Structural damage is extensive, Captain," Maya replied, her suit's sensors mapping the destruction. "Their hull technology is incredible. It's self-repairing, but the Void Hunter's weapons disrupted the crystalline matrix. They need our help to jumpstart the regeneration process." The mission had seemed simple enough. Help repair the Luminant refugee fleet while the Hyperion provided protection. But like everything involving these elegant aliens, the reality was more complex. Their technology was as advanced as it was different from humanity's brute force engineering. Maya's suit beeped a warning, radiation levels rising. She ignored it, knowing her Earth-evolved biology and hardened suit could handle far worse. The Luminant engineer accompanying her, however, had to retreat to a shielded position. "Remarkable," the alien, who called himself Echo, commented through the comm. "You operate in conditions that would kill most sentient species." Maya managed a small laugh while setting up repair equipment. "Just another day at the office for a Deathworlder. Though I have to admit, your crystalline technology is putting our fabrication units through their paces." She activated the repair drone, watching as it began interfacing with the Luminant hull. The drone, designed by human engineers, but incorporating Luminant crystal tech, represented the first fruits of their cooperation. It was fascinating to watch the two radically different approaches to engineering work together. Multiple contacts. The Hyperion's tactical alert cut through their conversation. Void Hunter signatures detected. They're using the new approach vector. Maya's training kicked in instantly. "Echo, get your people inside. I'll finish up here. But the radiation levels will kill you but not me. Go." As Echo retreated, Maya pushed herself to work faster. The repair drone was at a critical phase. Interrupting now could cause a cascade failure in the crystal matrix. Through her suit's sensors, She could detect the approaching Void Hunter vessels, their signature Void weapons already powering up. "Lieutenant Rodriguez," Captain Chen's voice was tense. "Get inside. We're about to engage." "Negative, Captain. 2 more minutes to complete the repairs. The crystal matrix is at a crucial phase." She could almost hear Chen's internal debate. The captain knew as well as she did that a human could survive brief exposure to space and radiation that would be lethal to the luminant. It was another way Earth's harsh conditions had prepared them for space. "You have 1 minute, Lieutenant. Make it count." Maya's hands flew over the controls, guiding the repair drone through its final sequences. Above her, she could see the Hyperion moving into position, its massive bulk interposing itself between the vulnerable luminant ship and the approaching threat. The first shots from the Void Hunters splashed against the Hyperion's shields. Maya felt the vibrations through the crystal hull she was working on. But she didn't flinch. This was what humans did best, standing firm in conditions that would break others. "Matrix stabilizing," she reported, watching the crystalline structure begin to pulse with renewed energy. "Repair sequence complete in 3, 2, 1. The hull beneath her hand suddenly blazed with light, the self-repair systems coming back online. The fractured sections began to seal themselves, the crystal growing and reforming like living glass. "Beautiful," she breathed, before a proximity alert snapped her back to reality. A Void Hunter vessel had broken through the Hyperion's screen, its weapons targeting her position. Maya kicked off from the hull, her suit's thrusters flaring. The Void weapon discharge passed through where she had been moments before, but the repaired crystal hull deflected it, its renewed matrix standing strong. "Now that's teamwork," she said, allowing herself a grin as she rocketed back toward the Hyperion's landing bay. Behind her, the luminant vessel's restored defenses came online, its crystal weapons adding to the Hyperion's barrage against the attackers. Back aboard the Hyperion, Maya found Echo waiting for her. The luminant engineer's light patterns shifted in what she had learned to recognize as amazement. "Your people," he said, "you don't just survive in hostile conditions, you thrive in them. We thought such adaptation would make a species violent, uncontrollable. Instead you found out we're pretty good at protecting others." Maya finished, removing her helmet. "Earth taught us that strength isn't just about survival. It's about using that strength to help those who need it." The battle outside continued, but now the luminant ships were fighting alongside the Hyperion with renewed confidence. Their crystal technology, combined with human resilience, was proving to be a combination the Void Hunters hadn't anticipated. As Maya watched through the bay windows, she saw more repair teams heading out, humans and luminant working together, each bringing their unique strengths to bear. The void between stars had always been hostile territory. But maybe that was exactly why humanity, forged in Earth's unforgiving embrace, was perfectly suited to be its guardians. The war room aboard the Hyperion hummed with activity as Captain Chen studied the holographic display. Representatives from both human and luminant forces gathered around the tactical table, their differences stark but their purpose unified. The Void Hunters had been pushed back repeatedly, but now they were massing for something big. "Their attack patterns have evolved," Chen observed, manipulating the hologram to show recent battle data. "They're learning from each engagement, adapting their tactics to counter both our brute force and the luminant's crystal tech." High Chancellor Zyra's light patterns shifted in agreement. "Our long-range sensors detect them gathering near the Helios Nexus. They're assembling the largest fleet we've ever encountered." The Helios Nexus, a critical junction of space lanes that connected dozens of luminant refugee worlds. If it fell, millions would be cut off from escape routes and supply lines. The Void Hunters had chosen their target well. "Traditional tactics won't work this time," Chen said, her enhanced eyes picking out details in the tactical display that others might miss. "They're expecting us to rely on our usual strengths, human durability, and luminant crystal technology. We need something new." Echo, the luminant engineer who had been working closely with Lieutenant Rodriguez, stepped forward. His light patterns pulsed with what Chen had learned to recognize as excitement. Perhaps we already have something new. The repair drones. Chen raised an eyebrow. The repair drones had been a successful merger of human and luminant technology, tough enough to operate in extreme conditions while capable of interfacing with crystal systems. But they were maintenance tools, not weapons. Then she saw where Echo was going with this. The molecular disruption field, she said, a slow smile spreading across her face. The very thing that makes their weapons so effective against crystal ships. Can be reversed, Echo finished, his patterns brightening. The repair drones understand how to stabilize and rebuild crystal matrices. With modifications. The war room erupted in activity as human engineers and luminant crystal shapers worked to modify the repair drone designs. Hours stretched into days as they raced against time, knowing the Void Hunters wouldn't wait forever. When the call finally came, they were as ready as they could be. The battle for the Helios Nexus began conventionally enough. The Void Hunters deployed their massive fleet in an attack formation they had clearly optimized based on previous encounters. Their void weapons were specifically calibrated to deal with both human and luminant defenses. What they weren't prepared for was Lieutenant Rodriguez, leading a squadron of modified repair drones, slipping through their lines, while the main fleet held their attention. Remember, Chen's voice came through the comm as Maya piloted her specially modified shuttle through the chaos of battle. The drones only have a limited range. You'll have to get close. Copy that, Maya replied, her heart pounding but her hands steady on the controls. Earth's gravity had given her the strength and reflexes for this mission, but it was still the riskiest operation she'd ever attempted. The first wave of drones reached their targets. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the nearest Void Hunter vessel began to shimmer, its light-absorbing hull taking on a crystalline sheen. It's working. Echo's voice came through the comm. The drones are rewriting their hull structure at the molecular level, converting their void tech into crystal matrices. The effect spread like a contagion through the Void Hunter fleet. Ships that had been designed to break down matter were instead being rebuilt, their own technology turned against them. The military precision of their formation began to break down as vessel after vessel lost control of their systems. But the Void Hunters weren't finished. Their remaining ships concentrated fire on Maya's position, recognizing the threat. Her shuttle's shields buckled under the assault. "Lieutenant, get out of there," Chen ordered. Maya gritted her teeth, pushing her shuttle's engines to their limit. Almost done. Last wave of drones deploying now. The shuttle's hull screamed in protest as void weapons fire sliced through failing shields. Maya felt the heat even through her suit's protection, but she held steady. Humanity had evolved to endure, to push through pain and fear when necessary. One more minute was all she needed. The final wave of drones launched just as her shuttle's systems began to fail. Maya kicked in the emergency thrusters, letting Earth-honed instincts guide her through evasive maneuvers that would have killed a pilot from a lower gravity world. Behind her, the chain reaction reached critical mass. Void Hunter ships weren't just being disabled. They were being transformed. Their dreaded void weapons, designed to break down matter, instead began creating new crystal structures. The Black Fleet blazed with unexpected light as their very nature was rewritten at the molecular level. All ships pressed the advantage. Chen's voice cut through the chaos. The combined human-luminant fleet surged forward, their weapons now finding easy targets in the transformed Void Hunter vessels. The battle that followed was brief but decisive. Without their specialized weapons and defenses, the remaining Void Hunters couldn't stand against the combined might of human durability and luminant crystal technology. Soon, the Helios Nexus was secure, and the largest Void Hunter fleet ever assembled had been completely neutralized. As Maida's damaged shuttle limped back to the Hyperion, she watched the transformed Void Hunter ships drifting in space. They were beautiful now, their once threatening forms recreated in crystal, like art pieces commemorating the battle. "You know what this means." Chen's voice was thoughtful over the comm. We've not just won a battle. We found a way to neutralize their greatest weapon. And we did it not by destroying, but by transforming. Maya smiled, feeling the aches in her earth-strong body, but knowing they were worth it. That's what humans do best, isn't it? We take what tries to kill us and turn it into something that makes us stronger. The Helios Nexus glittered in the starlight, now secured by a fleet that represented the best of both human and luminant capabilities. The war wasn't over, but its turning point had arrived, not through superior firepower or advanced technology alone, but through the combination of human determination and luminant wisdom. 3 months after the Battle of Helios Nexus, Captain Chen stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of the newly constructed Unity Station. The massive structure represented a perfect blend of human and luminant engineering. Crystalline architecture reinforced with Earth-inspired structural supports, elegant and unbreakable. Representatives from a dozen newly contacted civilizations filled the chamber, their variety astounding. Some floated in environmental bubbles, others walked on multiple legs or hovered using anti-gravity tech. All had come to witness something unprecedented: the formal alliance between humanity and the Luminant Collective. When we first encountered humans, High Chancellor Zira addressed the assembly, her light patterns reaching every corner of the room. We feared their strength. Their world had forged them into beings of incredible durability and determination. We thought such evolution could only produce violence. Chen watched the other species' reactions. Many had similar reservations about humanity. Their initial scans of Earth had labeled it a death world, its gravity, radiation, and atmospheric composition seemingly hostile to intelligent life. Instead, Zira continued, we found guardians, beings whose very struggle for survival had taught them the value of protecting others. Their strength became our shield, their determination our inspiration. Lieutenant Rodriguez, standing at attention nearby, caught Chen's eye and smiled. The young officer had become something of a legend among the Luminant after her role in the Helios Nexus battle. Now she led a joint training program, teaching human survival techniques to other species while learning their unique capabilities in return. The Void Hunters taught us all a valuable lesson. Zira's patterns shifted to deeper, more contemplative colors. They believed that strength came from breaking things down, from entropy and destruction. But true strength, as humanity showed us, comes from building up, from adaptation and growth. The transformed Void Hunter ships were now a permanent installation in Unity Station's central plaza. Their crystalline forms served as both art and reminder, beauty crafted from what was once a threat. Engineers from multiple species studied them, learning from the merger of technologies they represented. Chen stepped forward to take her place at the podium. The gravity was set to Earth normal in respect for the human delegation, making some of the alien representatives noticeably uncomfortable despite their gravity compensation devices. It was another reminder of just how different humans were from most galactic species. Earth taught humanity many things. Chen began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. We learned to endure, to adapt, to fight when necessary. But most importantly, we learned that no challenge is insurmountable when faced together. She gestured to the massive window behind her, where ships from dozens of worlds moved in careful formation. Human vessels, built to withstand incredible stresses, flew alongside elegant luminant crystal ships and the varied craft of other species. Each brought their own strengths, their own unique adaptations to the challenges of space. The Void Hunters saw our differences as weaknesses to exploit, Chen continued. Instead, those differences became the foundation of our strength. Human durability combined with luminant crystal technology. Earthborn determination merged with alien wisdom. We turned our greatest challenges into our greatest advantages. Echo, now the lead researcher for joint human-luminant projects, triggered a holographic display. It showed the spread of their combined technologies across known space, hybrid ships incorporating both human and luminant design principles, new colonies protected by Earth-inspired defense systems, trade routes made safer by their joint patrols. Today, we formalize what we have already proven in battle and in peace, Chen announced, that the path forward lies not in fearing our differences, but in celebrating how they make us stronger together. The Galactic Concordat will unite our peoples not despite our unique evolutionary paths, but because of them. As she spoke, the transformed Void Hunter ships in the plaza began to glow, their crystal matrices resonating with the emotions in the chamber. It was a luminant technique, using their crystalline technology to create a shared empathic experience. But it was human engineering that had made it stable enough to work on this scale. We came from a world that tried to kill us, Chen concluded, echoing her words from that first desperate battle. It taught us to be strong, to be resilient, to fight back. But it also taught us that survival isn't enough. True strength lies in using what we've learned to help others. That is humanity's gift to the galaxy. That is the legacy of the Deathworlders. The chamber erupted in a celebration that transcended species boundaries. Light patterns danced with bioluminescent displays, gravitic manipulators created zero art performances, and crystalline harmonies merged with human voices and song. Maya Rodriguez, watching from her position, felt Earth's familiar pull in the station's artificial gravity. Once that gravity had been seen as a curse, forcing humanity to evolve into something other species feared. Now it was recognized as the forge that had created exactly what the galaxy needed. Protectors strong enough to defend, yet wise enough to know that strength was best used in service of others. The age of isolation was over. The Deathworlders had found their place among the stars, not as conquerors or monsters, but as guardians, and the galaxy was stronger for it.